Yo, what is up? Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another video. As you can tell by the title, in this video we're going to be replacing the door actuator on my 2002 Honda CRV. Specifically, we're replacing the door actuator from the rear trunk door, or another term for it would be the rear tailgate. So as you see in these first few clips, as I take off the interior trim, the first thing that I wanted to originally do before replacing the door actuator is replace the lock cylinder for the trunk. Reason being is I don't have the key anymore, and in the event my keyless entry does not work again, which I hope it doesn't happen, I'll at least have the lock cylinder be operable to be able to access the trunk. Well, as you see in the next few clips, I was not successful. Reason being is I thought the lock was the same size as the ones for the front passenger and driver side, but the rear trunk lock cylinders slightly smaller than the front two-door locks. So again, I was unsuccessful, and the only way you can get a matching cylinder to replace it, or matching lock cylinder, is by or through Honda. And so yeah, ended up taking an L on that, and I didn't want to buy one from Honda because Honda is charging like $300 plus bucks. So after taking off the interior trim and unplugging the two plugs, the door actuator is just held on by 3 Phillips screws. I believe the size is T3. So if you are doing this, make sure you use the correct Phillips screw head so that you don't risk stripping the 3 screws. And if you have a hard time taking it off by hand, it's good to use a impact drill, but do not use an impact drill to put them back on. So here, now that I've taken off the old one, all I'm doing is transferring over the bracket and hinge onto the new door actuator. And to do that, you just have to remove the 2 Phillips head screws and put them onto the new one as well. So after transferring all of the necessary parts from the old unit to the new unit, when you put it back into the trunk door, you gotta do it at a certain angle. And in doing so, once you have gotten that angle, you want to hold the door actuator in place, or else it'll drop, to be able to screw in the 3 Phillips screws. And just to re-emphasize, especially with these types of screws, try not to over tighten. I like to make sure it's tight just by hand. You don't need to look up torque specs, at least in my opinion, because these do not need to be super tight, and in the event that you need to replace it, it'll definitely be a pain in the ass to unscrew them when they are overly tightened. Now the door actuator has 2 plugs. Super simple, just plug them back in. On top of there are other latches that I didn't explain in the beginning of the video, but I think it's self-explanatory. You just plug them back into the plastic clips. Now here I'm screwing back in some 10mm bolts. You don't have to do this. The reason I'm doing this is because I had to take it off to access the lock cylinder, but if you're just doing the door actuator, you don't have to do this. Alright, so that's the video. Thank you all for watching. If you want the door actuator that I used, I'll be adding a link in the description. Again, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate the likes, the comments, and you guys subscribing. I do enjoy making these videos, especially for both my cars. And yeah, this is a super simple job. You don't really need a lot of tools, although as you can see in this clip, I'm using my big toolbox, which I use for 99% of everything. But anyways, before I go off on a tangent, thank you guys for watching it, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Deuces.